Hello, parents. How are you? Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? It is. What time is it? Yeah, it's afternoon actually. It's afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're fine. And yes, as I promised today, we're going to talk about signs. Okay, warning signs that you should look out to know if a child is going through sexual abuse. And as I've told you, you see, research based, it is that 90% of sexual abuse that goes on children can be protected, can be prevented, if people around those children can be able to detect these signs, because most of the time we see them and ignore, and probably the child is just going through several abuse here and there. Yeah. Recently I was watching a clip by, she's called who, Lynn Ngogi. Yeah, she was doing this topic on teen pregnancy, and as she was trying to interview the girls, and they were saying that, you know what, this thing has been happening several times. Imagine, under the watch of the parents, under the watch of the aunties, under the watch of the uncles, everybody around them. Yeah, but they couldn't detect that this child is going through abuse several times. And it's not only that. How many times have we heard about children who are sexually molested? By the time they're coming out, the child has gone through sexual molestation for over, not once, not twice, not thrice. Yeah, and these are because we overlook these signs. We overlook these signs. So I just want to bring to your attention, because sometimes we see them and then we are thinking this child is just acting up, and probably they're going through issues. Sign number one is physical signs, things that you can be able to see physically, like maybe the child has bruises on their faces, and these bruises, they cannot be explained. Sometimes when a child comes back from home, and comes home and maybe they have bruises, they can be able to tell you, oh, this one I fell, this one, somebody scratched me or something like that. But no, in this case, they can't explain it. Even you yourself, you can't explain how comes this child has a bruise, maybe on their mouth, maybe on their faces, maybe even their hair, has been plucked. Because most of the time this abuse, when it's going on, it's violence. It's violence, because this child, obviously they don't want to do it, so it is violence. It doesn't come calmly. So such kind of things, you need to look out. Bruises, maybe they have rashes in their mouth or in their bodies, and you can't explain it. They have bites. Okay, they have maybe bites on their bodies. You need to look out. You need to check out. Okay, okay, where did this come from, something like that. So we need to look out on that. So and sometimes they can even have bruises around their genitals, especially if they are young and you're the one bathing them. You can be able to detect that. All right. And fear, very unexplained fear. They start feeling fearful around people they were, people you're familiar with, people you're used to, people who, they are close relatives. Because actually we say that, 90% of the abuse happen uh, by people that this child is familiar to. So the stranger danger thing is no longer there. It's not really there. It's not necessarily a stranger. Most of the time, there are people whom this child know. So they fear. They have a fear of maybe being left with a certain kind of a person alone, or maybe at some point they're just avoiding that person. When they come in the house, they maybe disappear to another room. There's that fear. And then they also fear of certain places. Maybe you're going somewhere, you want to enter some place, and they're like, no, don't go there. Or rather, they don't want you to go with them somewhere. Okay, I don't want to consume more than 8 minutes on this video, because I'll do part 2 and part 3, I think so. Okay. And then another thing is retrogressive behaviors. They go back to the babyish kind of behaviors. Maybe now they were not sucking their thumbs, now they have started sucking their thumbs. Or maybe you find they had stopped bedwetting, then all of a sudden they're bedwetting. Those are signs you need to look out for. You need to know, okay, how comes you've gone back to this? Yeah, your child could be going through an abuse. And as I've given you these signs, not only sexual abuse we are talking about here. Okay, majorly it's sexual abuse, but you're also talking about other form of abuse. Maybe they could be going through physical abuse, emotional abuse. You never know, but these are some of the signs you need to look out to. Another thing is they become very clingy. Sometimes they don't want you to go, they don't want you to leave them. They become very clingy. Or you find they become very withdrawn even from you. They don't want you, maybe you used to have very nice conversations, then all of a sudden they don't want to talk. They want to be alone. They want to be left alone, especially when they are coming up teenagehood, adolescent stages there. They want to be alone and all that. So or they become very easily distracted, and also they become distant, okay, from people. So you better look out for those signs. Another thing is they become very secretive, and probably they were never secretive. You used to talk so easily, then all of a sudden they're very secretive, or sometimes they begin a story and then like, okay, just leave it, just leave it. It's not like that. So you need to watch out on that. They start telling lies, and this maybe is a child who was not telling lies. They start telling lies, and then they have a secret about somebody. They start telling you, you see, so and so, and then they're like, let's not talk about it, let's not talk about it. So those are things you need to look up to. You need to be careful about. If you start seeing such signs, don't ignore. Don't ignore. uh Try find out what is happening. Try find out what is happening. And one way to do that is to be that kind of a parent who is close to your kid. And I've told you, one way of getting so close to your child is having this sexual conversation very easily with them. When you begin them very early with them, they trust you. You build a bond. Okay, my minutes are running out, but I'm going to finish this. Nightmares. Yeah, they start having sleeping disorders, like they don't have sleep. Can you imagine? They don't have sleep, or maybe they are screaming at night, or they are sleeping and then they're shouting and all that kind of thing. You need to look out what is happening. What is happening with this kid? Okay. Another thing is changes in grooming. This one mostly I can say with adolescent teenagers, if they are going through an abuse. When we talk about abuse, we are generally talking about somebody who is older doing something that is so wrong, sexually, physically, emotionally, to an underage person. So when you're talking about a teenage becoming, their grooming changes, they start dressing very shabbily. They don't care about how they look, or they become very provocatively uh, groomed. Yeah. So they dress maybe clothes that are showing. Maybe they want to, just behave funny with their dressing and all that, and they don't want to listen. You see, this child can be probably they're being molested by somebody who's older than them, giving them money. Now they have started, or maybe doing for them some funny things. So they have started developing a kind of an attitude, like, what, you can't tell me anything. You can't tell me anything. So they dress up shabbily, they dress up provocatively, and all that. And then the last thing before I finish this is wanting to be away from home. Okay, sometimes they want to be away from home. There are more points. I'm going to do it in the next video. So wanting to be away from home, sometimes they miss school, they miss classes, something like that. Or you find that they don't want to associate with other kids so much. Yeah, so you need to look out for that. Maybe they no longer enjoy the games they used to enjoy. Maybe it's PE, it's sport, it's swimming. They no longer enjoy those kind of things. That's about 10 minutes video. Yeah, I hope you've gotten something. Pick out something from there. I'm sure these are things you're not only protecting your own kid at the end of the day, but you're also looking out for children in your neighborhood. Maybe you are a teacher, you can be able to look out for those kind of signs. Maybe you are a Sunday school teacher. Maybe you there's a way you just connect with kids. You can be able to spot on that and take action. Yeah, take action so that you can protect children from this kind of abuses, right? All right, so watch out for the next video coming up shortly. I think tomorrow. Yep. So why don't you have a good day, good evening? Okay, bye.